All right, y'all. So Athletic Club go home in pretty sad and embarrassing fashion, but Real Betis make history by making their first ever European final. So congratulations to Real Betis for keeping La Liga and keeping this European series alive. We were moments away, or it felt like it at one point, from this being the last EP, where we were like, hey man, everybody's eliminated. I guess we're going full-time La Liga, but no, Real Betis came up clutch. Jalen Brunson of European football, and we're still going to keep it going. Before we do, if you like Spanish football, make sure you're subscribed. We're going to keep talking about Real Betis in the final. We'll do a couple predictions and whatnot for that. And of course, we have a Clásico this weekend, live stream on the channel. Don't miss that. Let's start with Athletic Club. I feel like we have to because you're on demon time. So we'll start with Athletic Club versus Manchester United. How disastrous was this result on a scale of 1 to 10?
I feel like I'm Cersei in Game of Thrones, and everybody's just saying shame. That's what all La Liga fans, I think that's everybody around Europe right now, they're feeling at Athletic Club. Shame. 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 This is a 10 out of 10 disaster right now. I can't, like, guys, I have to come in like this. Let me just put this on because now you guys can hear
what
me.
About Michael? What about the injuries?
Oh, no. I don't give a shit. Injuries are injuries. Barcelona had 4 players out, and they went toe-to-toe against Inter. I don't care. You can lose Williams. You can lose Sunset. You can lose Vivian. The other players got to step up. But, I mean, the manner in which they just went down. And, like, we're going to look at this tie in probably 10 years. Me and Jack, maybe we'll have Botox. We won't have wrinkles here on our foreheads. We'll be talking about. Remember when Athletic Club went to the semifinal of the Europa League? We're like, oh yeah, they got destroyed. But we won't add the context of how they got destroyed. We'll just see the scoreline 7-1 and be like, that's an embarrassment. I could care less about, Athletic Club got the red card in the first leg. You have your own selves to blame. You didn't take the chances. You got punished. You can talk about the referee all you want. This game, you're 1-0 up. Berenguer has chances again. I mean, this guy's a disgraceful player. Berenguer and Jallo, Abde, I apologize. Jallo might be the worst forward in La Liga right now. When a player is without confidence, I mean, you didn't watch the second half. The amount of crosses he put into the box, and he couldn't beat the first man. I must have counted at least 5 to 6 in order where he put the cross in, couldn't get to Sonati. Put the cross in, couldn't get into Sonati. And I think for Athletic Club, it's a big disappointment because this whole entire season was built around, let's make it to the final. Let's make it to our cathedral, the San Mamés. And you're getting beat up, embarrassed, shamefully dispossessed by a 14th place Premier League side in Manchester United. 14th place. And it was 7-1. You allowed Mason Mount to score 2 goals on you. Mason Mount, who has done nothing in his Manchester United career, cost 60 million for them, and he got 2 goals to send them to a final. Fair play to Manchester United. They fully deserved it. There can be no complaints from La Liga fans. I don't want to hear no crying. You have to still play the game. You can talk about the Williams brothers missing out. I think Valverde just tossed in the white flag and said, yeah, we're done out here. And on Valverde, his European record is spooky. It's very spooky. Can't get to the final with Barcelona with those OP teams, especially 18-19. Messi was the best. Got to the final with Espanyol, what was it, like 2006, 2005? Yeah, you lost to Sevilla, it happens. But overall, his European record is not great. And I think he's had some decent teams along the way with Adoris, with Athletic Club, obviously Barcelona. Like, this guy should have a European trophy, and yet he hasn't delivered it. So Valverde's European record is spooky, and I don't want anybody in the comments saying, oh, Michael, it's not Valverde's fault that they didn't convert the chances. Well, yeah, maybe he shouldn't start Jallo, because clearly Jallo is just nowhere near La Liga level. I'm sorry. Sanadi has shown, I think in a short time, yeah, he could be a frustrating player, but at least he gives his effort. Jallo is just a kid amongst boys. Send him to the B team, and yeah, it's just a disgraceful exit for Athletic Club after what was meant to be, all right, you get top 4, that's good enough, but at least make it to the final at home. You can't even do that. Shameful.
So if your life and your family's life is on the line, you got to win a European football game. You want Valverde or Antonio Conte managing your side?
I'll still take Valverde because Conte can't even make it to a semifinal. So okay. I'll take Valverde still.
Okay, I think that's the wise pick. Comment down below. Yeah, I definitely think Jalot has entered the most fraudulent La Liga forward. I don't know even who his main competition is right now. It might be like Isaac Romero from Sevilla. Like that might be a name that we got to throw up there.
Maybe,
Top
yeah.
3 frauds in the division. I'm sure there's another one that'll come to me soon, but yeah, the man he's just clearly not ready. And this was too big of a task for him. Do you think that this loss and the fact that Manchester United, being 14th, beating Athletic Club, who are in a Champions League place in La Liga, but also right before that, also thrashing Real Sociedad 5-2, surely this is something that unless Real Betis beat Chelsea, I feel like the casual and the plastic footballing atmosphere will think that La Liga sucks, especially with Barcelona losing recently to Inter. Even though Inter are really freaking good, people will still be like, oh my God, Manchester United, they bought up all of San Sebastian. They own all the property there. Chelsea,
all of Basque region.
All the Basque region. Chelsea, everybody's saying that, like they're not even that good. They should be way better. If they beat Betis in the final, you have Barcelona going out of the semis. I feel like this could be a domino effect where people will have the belief that La Liga is not as good as I think it really is. And that's why I said, thank God at the beginning of the podcast that Betis are in the final, because if Fiorentina, well, we'll get to them. I got plenty of stuff to say about Fiorentina. If they would have knocked it out too, and La Liga went 0-2 against Serie A in the semifinal, I'm not saying we have to end the show, but I mean, we would have to have an emergency pod. Literally, we would have to. All hands
it's like
on
a
deck.
3-hour thesis on La Liga in European football right now. And we can't forget Real Madrid lost, what was it, 5-1 aggregate scoreline to Arsenal. An Arsenal side that couldn't really compete against PSG. I just think for Athletic Club,
well, Arteta
they did
kind of clearly the better side.
Well, I mean, we need to drug test them immediately. That's what we need to do. Arteta, you need to go to a drug testing room ASAP. I think for Athletic Club, you can kind of see throughout this season in Europe that they kind of squeaked by and they kind of got fortunate at times where we're like, okay, it happens, but at least deliver and make it to the final. They obviously fortunate with the red card for Hummels, fortunate with the red card with Rangers. They got some dubious calls in their favor. And the one time they got a dubious call against them, they couldn't react well. Look at how Lyon responded. Yes, Lyon lost the game against Manchester United, but even when they went down to 10 men, they took a 4-2 lead. Athletic Club just threw in the white towel and said, yeah, we're done. We're not even going to try and go up against Manchester United. I thought that was coward from Valverde. I really thought.
So what is that? Why? Like, what is the biggest concern about Athletic Club after this tie?
That maybe they were not good that we thought they were.
The team's overrated.
Some players, yes, I would say. I think Sunset is just such a crucial man. I mean, this guy can't stay healthy. Why can't you stay healthy, Sunset? He put Sunset in Berenguer's positions where he got shots off. There's 2 goals right there for you. I mean, Berenguer, he's a decent player off the bench. Starting, can't do it. Nico, I was a little bit disappointed. Obviously, he didn't play in the second leg. Inaki had a good chance in that first leg. I mean, you got the ball to the right players, but they just couldn't convert the chances. And then your leader, Vivian, gets the red card. Now, you can say what you want if it's not really a red card, but at the end of the day, the referee gave it and VAR said it's okay. So I think Athletic Club, some of the players, and I think the manager, they got to look at themselves and saying, this is not Athletic Club standard. This isn't. And I think now it's going to be a hard reality and a good reset heading into next season with Champions League football, and you're going to be competing in La Liga and Champions League. You got to step up if you're the players.
I think it is a potentially, and I say potentially because injuries are legit. And I mean, imagine what Real Betis would look like if they had to play this game today against Fiorentina with no Anthony, no Fornals, and no Isco. Would they have pulled it out? But there's a chance, but probably not. So that's why I say this is potentially a scary preview of what Athletic Club could look like next season, dude. Because think about it. Nico Williams gets his release clause paid, so he's gone. Sunset, there is starting to be whispers of a potential exit from Athletic Club. Now, you're probably going to have to triple his salary because I don't think he wants to leave. But it's not an impossibility. And if those two guys go, I think what my biggest concern or biggest takeaway is that this team, as solid as they are defensively, of course, outside of this tie where they 8-7, their reliance on 3 players to basically produce 95% of the offensive output, that's not good, right? If this is a basketball team and you got one guy scoring 35 points a game and nobody else averages 10, you're probably going to lose. There is a team like that. It's called the Charlotte Hornets.
Oh, I was just about to say, are we Donovan Mitchell and the Cavs?
Michael, why you gotta do me like that, dude? Are you serious right now? Bro, I'm still pissed after game 2. Oh my God, man. I was screaming at the wall. Oh, you're bringing back bad memories. Yes. Basically, God, I hate to do this, but yes, I think Athletic Club are the Cleveland Cavaliers, where it's like, all right, if one of the Williams bros goes down, then there goes Evan Mobley or Darius Garland. If Sunset can't play, well, then there goes Donovan Mitchell. You guys just, it's not like you're bad, but you lose all the scariness of this team. You become very easy to like neutralize. You know what I'm trying to say?
Mm-hmm. And I think also Athletic Club are they need the summer miss. They need that result there to give them momentum and give them confidence. When they lost 3-0, I knew it was over. There's no chance. And I know Inaki Williams and all the fans were talking about remontada. We can do this, guys. Come on, this Athletic Club. We're not going to do it. One thing Manchester United have been good at in the Europa League, they're a good home side. I knew it was done. When the Williams brothers said, we ain't going to travel, it's done. And I feel bad for the fans. 4,000 Athletic Club fans traveled to Old Trafford, and they ate 4 goals. I mean, I feel bad for the fans that traveled there. It's not fair for them. And I think this is a good reset for the club in saying, all right, we've tasted the success of the Copa del Rey. We all prioritize the Europa League this season. What's going to be the objective next season? That's what I'm kind of intrigued to see what Valverde and the players will talk about and the board. But they got to look at a signing like Jaló. He costs. I don't want to hamper on the guy and pick him out. But when Athletic Club make these signings, they cost 15 million. 15 million for Jaló. So if you're paying 15 million for Jaló, he needs to succeed, because we know the policy of Athletic Club. Once he didn't succeed, that's a red flag immediately for this season. And unfortunately, he hasn't panned. I think he's got 1 goal this season. 1 goal.
Sounds about right. I thought he was 500K. They paid 15 mil for him?
Yeah, I think 15 million from Braga, if I'm not mistaken.
I think this is one of those results where I think it has a pretty aggressive impact on Athletic Club's transfer policy for next season. Of course, I don't mean like who they go out and buy, because those options are so limited, but like, who do we let go? You know what I mean? Like, they might be like, okay, well, Jaló's 3 years away, right? What do they call it? Draft and stash? He's like one of those guys. It's like, all right, when in like 2028, right? Maybe this guy can be the next Nico Williams, but what do we do for the next 3 years? We can't just suck and not qualify for Europe and lose out on revenue. Like, what do we do? Maybe it's worth it to keep Nico Williams even with his deal winding down. I don't know. That's kind of how I see it going down, but you're spot on with the fans. When I saw the 4,000 traveled, it's devastating. This is literally the worst defeat Athletic Club have ever suffered in European football history. Their second ever worst defeat on aggregate. You want to take a guess?
I actually have no clue.
It's if you would have gotten this one, that would have been insane. 2009-2010 season in the Europa League.
Was it knockout stages? I'm trying to think. Group stage. No, I actually don't know.
They lost to Werder Bremen 6-1 on Ag.
Jeez.
That's
not too bad, actually, because Werder Bremen, I think the season before, won the... they made it to the final of the Europa League. So it's not too bad. Yeah, but this is a 14th place Manchester United.
But this is pretty bad. Yeah.
Yeah, this is egregious.
I don't know. Any other discussion points you think we should harp on?
Do we think this is going to heavily affect them for next season? Or actually, is this going to affect them for the rest of this season? Because they're still in the top 5 battle for the Champions League. With the way Betis are playing, Villarreal have regained some form. Are we concerned for Athletic Club for the final couple games that they are going to secure it?
I'm going to put faith in them to hold on, right?
Barely.
But barely. Dude, if they slip, then genuinely they go from this is an A- season. Valverde, he rotated the squad perfectly. Everything worked out to like a D+, C- season. Oh my God, they imploded. Just like that. Like they got Barcelona once.
I'll tell you the remaining schedule. So they're right now 4 points ahead of Betis. They host Alaves at home. They go away to Getafe. They go away to Valencia. And the final game is Barcelona at home. That's not easy.
Those are 2 super tough games. 1 hard game. And if they don't beat Alaves at home.
Alaves are fighting for relegation too. So this is not going to be easy.
They just got to draw against Atleti. Yeah.
Yep.
Jesus. Yeah, I mean they're hanging on like Mufasa right now. It's not good for Athletic Club. But a team that it is going really freaking well for. You want to talk about 180s from Christmas Day to now, Real Betis. Not only did they beat Fiorentina and make their first ever final, in the freaking league, they have an extremely tough game against Espanyol. They're losing until the 85th minute, and then they come back and win to keep this chase for the Champions League spot alive. I mean, it's unbelievable how much better this team is than what they were 4 months ago. I'm going to say something and you push back if you want to or elaborate. Real Betis 100% deserve to win this.
I do agree. And usually I'm sort of the balanced one, and I try to get my Serie A bias involved as well. I think Betis fully deserved it. The only reason why Fiorentina were in this tie is truly because they were dangerous on set pieces. That's why they got 2 corner kick goals. Most of their good chances were basically from corners, whereas Betis, they played the football. And, I mean, some of the football they played was marvelous to watch, especially, I mean, Isco, he needs a European trophy. I know he's won so many Champions Leagues, he's won La Ligas, but to win a Conference League, I know Conference League people may disregard it, but to bring a trophy to Real Betis, their first ever European trophy, and putting the performance he did for 120 minutes, I mean, Isco take a bow. I mean, what a game from him. And I think overall in this tie, they should have won that first leg 5-1. They had glorious chances after glorious chances. They didn't convert them. The second leg, when it got to 2-1 for Fiorentina, I said, oh, this ain't looking good. Because they got the 1-0 lead. Thanks. I mean, well, actually, let's hold on Anthony for a second. They got the 2-1. Fiorentina got to 2-1. I thought, okay, they're losing momentum here. How does the second half go? The second half was kind of even. Not a lot of good chances for Betis, in my opinion. The extra time, I thought they played exceptional football for that first half of the extra time. And then Abde had a couple chances to ice the game in the second half. So overall, for how many minutes was played? 90, 100, 200 and something minutes. I think Betis were fully deserving of going to a European final. And Pellegrini and the job he has done, he's brought a Copa del Rey for the first time in a long time to Real Betis. If he can bring a European trophy, remember, he led those good teams for Villarreal in the early 2000s. He led Malaga to a quarterfinal of the Champions League, and I would say kind of got screwed over against Dortmund. If Pellegrini delivers a European trophy to Real Betis, one of the most underrated managers this century. And brought Man City their first... No, sorry, he didn't bring Man City their first Premier League. That was Mancini.
But still, I think you're getting at something interesting here where it's like, because he's kind of out of sight, out of mind right now in Real Betis, nobody is really tracking the accomplishments that he's had since he returned to Spain. But I do think he enters into that. I'm not even sure what other managers you want to throw in, like maybe like Ranieri or something, but like Pellegrini has a better career than him, right? But I'm just talking about those guys where you can make a strong argument that they deserve more recognition. If he beats Chelsea in this final, 2 trophies with Betis in 3 years, what? That's crazy. Insane, man. Like you gotta somehow we gotta come up with a number and an equation to factor in like overcoming history, right? And like how difficult that is to do. And it's been such a long time since Betis have seen this success. They never made it to European final even until now. They hadn't made a semifinal until now, and they just beat a good Fiorentina team. You have to put respect on Pellegrini. I was very critical of him at the beginning of the season. And I think maybe now looking back in hindsight, it looks like the problem wasn't necessarily how Pellegrini was trying to play. It was really the players that he had at his disposal. Ironically, Abde, who scores the winner in the semifinal, and thank God he did, bro, because he had a couple of the moments before that where I was like, this man is so frustrating. Like, he beat his man off the dribble, and then just the shot would just, oh my God. But he had, overall, I think he had a good game. He had a shot off the post too late that could have iced it. I thought he did well, and he needed this. This was important.
I was really surprised by Abde. We were super critical of the player on this channel, but I think he gave a little bit of life to us. We're not fully taking the bait yet because we know the history of Abde, but we can acknowledge that these two games, Abde, because Jesus Rodriguez, I don't think he played a minute in the semifinal, which I'm shocked by for how well he's been playing in the last couple of months. Yeah, Abde needs to take some praise. Anthony, bro, I don't know what this man has been eating. I think when we did that video of him making the transfer to Betis, we're like, okay, this could either go two ways. Either it's going to be shockingly bad and his career is done, or he can sort of resurrect his career. I mean, he's done more than resurrection. This guy might be the new Pope. That free kick he scored today. And we got two popes anointed today. The free kick goal he scored, I'm like, there is no way this man just did it. I think the commentator, at least for me, said that's the first free kick goal he's ever scored in his career. And what a moment to do it in a semifinal of a European competition. Now, I will argue, I think he should have got a red card because the battle he had against Ranieri throughout this game, when he kicked him in the balls, I said, that should be going to VAR. That should be a red card on Anthony. Yeah. He got away with that. Then again, he basically almost punched Ranieri. Should have got a red card there almost. Anthony was a little bit, you could see the temperament get the best of him. I think it's the occasion and probably Ranieri really sticking it to him. But Anthony kept his cool, got the assist to Abde. Great run from Anthony to get the ball to Abde. And Anthony's play recently, the crucial goal he got over the weekend against Espanyol, the golazo today against Fiorentina. You got to give it to Anthony. I mean, what a turnaround he's had in his career. I think Pellegrini needs to take some credit for it. But Betis, I just love this team. For me, I think they played the best football, second best football in La Liga in 2025.
The soft spot I have for Villarreal has me wanting to throw their hat in the ring.
But they did go through a little bit of a period where they were not looking good.
Yeah, there was a terrible Villarreal loss in there. You know what I'm talking about? It was like 3-0. Was it Mallorca or somebody beat them 3-0? It was bad. Maybe like 4 weeks ago?
Yeah. That was without Baena and a couple
Celta de Vigo. Celta de Vigo beat them 3-0.
Yeah, away from home.
Yeah. Yep. Away from home. Yeah, that was bad. But hey, dude. Nicola Pepe, bro, he's cooking. Anyways, this is not about Villarreal. All props to Real Betis. Dude, on the winning goal, this is another interesting storyline because we've talked about how Cedric Bakambu has been one of the best center forwards, if not the best center forward in the Conference League. Dude was a ghost today. He did absolutely nothing. Do you know who had the assist to Anthony, so the hockey assist for Abde's goal?
Yeah, it was Ruibal, and he's a right back.
Ruibal was up there. I was like, who the hell did that? I literally rewinded twice. I was like, that guy was a better center forward than Bakambu the entire game. The link-up play there, the pass was amazing. Credit to Anthony because he had rushed a couple opportunities earlier in the game where he was like a little trigger happy, but on this time he lifts his head, sees Abde, lays it across perfectly. It was a great, totally non-flukish, just pure class winner from Real Betis to send them to the final. I wanted to ask you because I did notice Anthony versus Ranieri. Is Ranieri, because you watch more Serie A than me, is he a massive wind-up merchant?
I haven't seen so much of Fiorentina, so I cannot fully say. But maybe he just targeted Anthony today and said, you're a hothead. Let's try and eliminate you from this game. And it was working. I mean, what do you think? Do you think that was a red card by Anthony? He kicked him in the balls, bro.
Yeah. Dude, I don't know what a red card is anymore. Like I
I
don't
don't either.
know when you're allowed to. So if you spit but it doesn't land on the opponent, it's not a red. I mean, like what did we even talk? It's like the NBA, bro. I don't know what a shooting foul is. I
Yeah.
have no idea what a shooting foul is anymore. So now I just try to emotionally detach and I keep it pushing. But I did notice Ranieri in both legs. Like the guy is extremely animated. Like he reminds me of like a classic Italian center back who would like celebrate a slide tackle more than a goal type thing. Like kind of that.
Chiellini.
Yeah, like Chiellini, honestly, like Cuti Romero does that too. He like gets up and yells in the opponent's face when he makes a tackle. He did that several times, and scored in the first fixture too. I also wanted to ask you about Fiorentina because I read this tie like this. From open play, Real Betis, I thought dominated.
Hmm.
Fiorentina, it seemed like they were very scary from set pieces. I will say, like, I know they scored 2 today from King Gulsons, who turned into Michael Jordan today. Who's great in both legs, by the way. Gulsons was class. Gulsons versus Anthony was not the matchup that I thought I needed, but it was fantastic. What a showcase for the Conference League. But I thought that they looked dangerous on set pieces. But other than that, I was a little shocked how direct they were trying to be. Like it was just long ball, long ball, long ball. Try to get to Moise Kean, who I thought had some good moments, but Betis didn't really give him any space. Are they usually just that like prime Stoke City, just send it over the top?
Against the top teams in Serie A, they are a very direct team. I think that's why they struggle against the bottom sides. Like they had a heavy defeat against Como because they're not the greatest possession team. Like Richardson, who they signed from League on over the summer, he hasn't panned out that well. Fagioli has had a couple of decent moments. I think when Bove, he was like a really good signing from them from AS Roma. He got that heart problem, and he obviously I don't think he can play for a while. So their kind of build-up play was hampered by those injuries and the signing, I think, of Richardson because that hasn't worked out. So they usually go direct to Moise Kean down the wings and say, Moise Kean, you create all the shooting opportunities and the chances for us. And Moise Kean this season, he's been awesome for them. Awesome. And then kind of Gudmundsson plays as the second striker, kind of dropping deep to receive the ball. But Fiorentina, I mean, they did go direct against Inter at 1-3-0. Then away from home, they tried to go direct against Inter and I think they lost 2-0 or 1-0 in the game. So this has kind of been a pattern with them throughout the season. But Betis, they exploited it. They knew that there was going to be space in behind because they play with the two wing backs. So Dodo goes all the time forward, always going forward. And then Gossen's always going forward. So you know that you're going to leave space for a Fornals in this game and Anthony on the other side. And you got to give credit to Pellegrini and his team. But you need an Isco. You just need an Isco to really chef it up in the midfield. If Isco wasn't playing and was Lo Celso, Betis are not winning this game because Isco, his footballing IQ is far superior than everybody on the field. Like nobody can touch Isco in that circumstances. So his ability on the ball, I think it really frustrated Fiorentina, and Fiorentina really couldn't do anything about it. And they had to go direct. And yeah, they were dangerous on set pieces, but that was pretty much it.
Yeah, I thought it was I was shocked how little chance creation there was from open play. I was like, because you contrasted with Isco, who I'm surprised that Fiorentina didn't just man mark out of the game at some point. Like, all right, this guy's kicking our ass. Richardson, just stay on him and just tackle him, right? Because they play with the three midfielders and the wing back, so it's kind of like a 3-5-2 formation. Take Isco out of the game. But instead, they just kind of like let him have it. It reminded me of when Germany played Scotland at the Euro, and Scotland just let Toni Kroos just stand on the ball and just do whatever he wanted. I was like, this is a bold strategy. Let's see if it works out for him. It didn't. Scotland got murdered. And Fiorentina got murdered too. I know they lost by 1 on aggregate. Man, if they weren't Set Piece FC, this would have been a little bit of a humbling, I would say, for Fiorentina.
Yeah. I think it also it highlights more that Betis are a phenomenal team right now. They're on such a groove and they're playing such good football. Even when they're down and out, like they were against Espanyol, they get the win. They just have that sort of winning taste right now. Obviously, they lost that game against Villarreal a couple of weeks ago, and it was the critical battle for the top 5. But Betis got the momentum. Can they keep it going until the final? Because I think it would be an upset. If they beat Chelsea, wow, that would be something for Betis.
It's an upset. If they beat Chelsea, you just have to say strength of squad. It is an upset. Is it like if Bodo Glimt had won the Europa League? No, it's not on that level. I'm not sure if there's another comparison. Okay, do you think it would be more of an upset if Betis beat Chelsea than if Arsenal beat PSG?
No. I was trying to think of like another comparison. Remember when Villarreal beat Manchester United? Would that be the equivalent of it?
I mean, damn near a carbon copy, you could say. Yeah. I'm trying to think. I don't remember all the personnel on that Man U squad, but yeah.
Well, there was the Pogbas, there was those sort of players, De Gea. They had a good team. They finished second that season with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And then Unai Emery rocked up with Parejo and these sort of guys and said, all right, we're going to win the Europa League. So I feel like this is kind of the same thing here with Betis. Betis have nothing to lose in this final. And I think they could just play their football, be resolute defensively, which they haven't been. Like, we have to be honest, they're going to concede a goal. So for them can they get the 2 goals, 3 goals? I feel like Cucho not being registered, it's going to come back to bite them.
Yeah, that's a big lot. Where is the final?
In Poland. I can't remember the city. Is it Wrocław or something like that?
Sick. That's sick. That'll be cool. Do you know what day it's on? Because I know that the Europa League's on the 21st.
I think it's after. Day. No, it's after the Europa League, if I'm not mistaken. 28th.
Okay, thank God. I was like, please tell me both finals are not running simultaneously or some shit.
Now, UEFA won't do that, bro. UEFA are about money.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And hey, dude, I think this leg was actually a really good showing for the Conference League. This was good footy, man. It really was. It was pretty passionate. There was like a couple fights after full time. This was not friendly. This did not feel like a Mickey Mouse head-to-head when the final whistle blew. Like, you could see what it meant to the Betis players, and you could see how pissed the Fiorentina players were that, they didn't make the final yet again. But still, I mean, you got to credit Fiorentina for making this the final or the semifinal in 3 straight years. Like, it's pretty solid, man.
Yeah, it's pretty solid, but also you're kind of losers, bro. You can't lose 2 finals in a row. You lost to West Ham, you lost to Olympiacos, now you lost to Betis in the semifinal. That's gonna stink for Fiorentina.
Yeah. Hey, you got to respect Olympiacos, though, dude. That was a good team.
Oh yeah, that was a good team, but still, I mean, come on, Fiorentina can't lose to Olympiacos. No, you can't.
Can't sleep on the Greeks, bro. All right. You got any closing thoughts for Betis or Athletic Club or just Spanish sides overall?
Well, we at least got one team. Maybe it was the one team. This is, what's so funny? If we did a prediction before all the European competition started and we said which team least likely will qualify to the final, it would have been Betis. And here they are in the European final. I think that is something extraordinary, and it just tells you can do all you want in September to December, but when it gets to January and to May, who will rise to the challenge? Betis have rose to the challenge. Barcelona, I think they had a good effort. I don't think they can have any shame losing to Inter because it was a phenomenal semifinal. Athletic Club, shame. Atletico, shame. Real Madrid, shame. Those teams got to look at themselves and say, Real Sociedad, shame, by the way. I mean, those guys should have the worst hall of shame possible for how they performed against Manchester United. But I think La Liga teams, this is a good wake-up call. Just showing you cannot underestimate any opponent. No matter if a team is 10th place in the respective league, you have to bring your A game. You can be 5th place, 6th place in La Liga. You can never underestimate any team in Europe. And for some of the La Liga teams, I think they underestimated their opponents, and they got punished for it.
You're probably right. And I find that a little embarrassing. I feel like in the preparation process, knowing the financial might in the Premier League, you should never be making mistakes like that. And so I really hope, I mean, that won't happen for Real Betis, right? They're not going to look at Chelsea and be like, they kind of suck, right? But it will be interesting to see how they perform, because I think you can draw similarities between kind of like a high price tag team that's slightly dysfunctional in Manchester United when they lost to Villarreal, and kind of like the same situation at Chelsea where they got a bunch of stars. Not sure what the chemistry is there. Fans don't like the manager. I'm not going to say the vibes are that great. They haven't played a single relevant team up until the final. I can't wait. We'll probably have to go live for that.
Yep, 100%.
We'll
we got to see history for Real Betis if they can do it, because if they win that Conference League, unbelievable, unbelievable achievement by them. Just one last question: who for you has been the most disappointing La Liga side in Europe this season?
Atletico Madrid, I think.
Okay.
Because you lost in the manner in which we lost to the worst Madrid side I've seen in, I don't know, a while. I think that one looks bad. If you want to say like who just completely embarrassed the league, I mean, dude, Athletic Club might be the nominee based on this 7-1.
I would still kind of lean towards Real Madrid because they lost 5-1 to Arsenal. And we saw Arsenal they just don't have any attack. So you lost 5-1. You allowed Declan Rice's highlight Kodak moment of his career. I think Real Madrid got to take some heat for that. And then they also said that, I mean, those guys are just an abomination.
I thought about them. I thought about
an abomination.
I thought about it. At least Atletico and Real Madrid had good wins throughout this campaign, right? At least there were good teams that both of them took down. I mean, say what you will about the state of Man City when they played Real Madrid, but Real Madrid killed them, right? Sociedad.
They lost to Anderlecht. I think they lost to Anderlecht.
They have no bodies on the sheet. Like, who did they take down?
That KD ratio is looking spooky.
And Girona is just, I mean...
Oh, well, I can't even acknowledge them because
it's painful to talk about them.
Really, poor Girona.
It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good. So we're going... I think you can make an argument. I'm going emotional with Atletico, but if you want to say it's Real Sociedad, that's probably the objective answer. Right.
Yeah.
It's probably
because their league phase was really iffy. They struggled in a lot of those games against sides that they should be beating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally agree. Even Athletic Club. I mean, you guys beat Roma, and not many teams have beat Roma recently. So you still have that flower in the cap. Sociedad don't even have a cap. It's just, yeah. Anyways, man, if these guys finish in the bottom half of the effing table in La Liga, dude, I'm straight cooking them barbecue session for 20 minutes. Guys, we're going to end the episode there. You heard me reference a future episode. We're going to be back with Lengua de la Liga, our show that covers the Spanish top flight this weekend with El Clásico, Barcelona versus Real Madrid. Basically, the division is on the line, right? It could be decided with a Barcelona victory. If Real Madrid win or it's a draw, then things are still wide open with 3 more games to play after that. So if you guys enjoyed this episode, you want to watch along for that live stream Sunday morning, make sure you subscribe and make sure you're following both myself and Michael on social media so that you stay up to date with both our individual thoughts and ramblings about the world of football, but also updates to the show and upcoming content pieces and whatnot. So that's the best place, or the best way to stay up to date with everything. We hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, smash the like button, share it with a friend who you think might also like this show covering the La Liga teams. We appreciate you guys for watching, and we'll see y'all in the next one.